Welcome to Pints and Pelvic Floors, a podcast designed to normalize the discussion around all things pee, poop, sex, and more. I'm your host, Dr. Joy Noble, owner of Pelvic Pride Physical Therapy and Wellness, an LGBTQ-owned, transgender safe space and clinic for all. Grab a pint and come as you are as we uncover the myths around our genitals and destigmatize normal body functions, as well as normalize asking for help. So raise your glass, because it's a beautiful day to save pelvic floors. Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of Pints and Pelvic Floors. I'm your host, Dr. Joy Noble, and I am so glad to have you here. In this podcast, we're going to go over just a quick introduction of who am I and what is pelvic pride. After that, we'll dive into what is Pints and Pelvic Floors? Why is this thing called Pints and Pelvic Floors a podcast? And then why start a podcast now? It seems to be the thing to do, so we'll just kind of answer why we're deciding to do that. We'll go over what to expect in future episodes, just to kind of give you an idea of what is this podcast all about, help you decide, is it something you actually want to tune into every week? Talk a little bit about like what the length of each podcast episode is going to be, kind of what you can expect from us, and then wrap it up and hopefully get you launched into the next episode where we're going to dive into a little bit more information about what the pelvic floor is. So to start, who am I? I'm Dr. Joy Noble. I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist. I graduated PT school in 2013. So this year I'm coming up on my 10th year as a pelvic floor therapist. I became a pelvic PT immediately after graduation, went into my first job, and it was 50% orthopedic, 50% pelvic floor. Took courses as soon as I graduated from PT school and haven't looked back. I have been treating pelvic floors in some capacity my entire career. Took a little bit of a break when I moved to Maryland and was doing a lot more orthopedics, but quickly jumped back into the pelvic world and then opened up a practice all on my own in 2020. What a scary, interesting time, because we got a lease on our first location in September of 2019, got everything set. Kind of soft open in January, saw our first patient in February, and closed our doors in March when COVID hit. So it's been quite a journey. Obviously, we're still here on the other side of what COVID has become. So we got super fortunate there. When we first started, the clinic was called Joy Noble DPT LLC. What a mouthful. We were able to rebrand and turn that into Pelvic Pride, which is just a kind of a beacon of who we are, what we do. LGBT community is super important to us, and so being able to provide a space that is safe and very consent-based and very open to all, it was super important. So we changed the name from Joy Noble DPT to Pelvic Pride and have been growing in that capacity ever since. We went from being a small little clinic in Federal Hill as a team of one to now being a larger clinic still in Federal Hill with a team of 4. My first clinic, Dr. Marlena, my other pelvic PT on the team so far, she affectionately called my first space the cupboard under the stairs, because it was just this itty bitty room, and I appreciate all the patients who trusted me and walked in that room and still wanted to come back and get care. Hopefully they saw the value despite the confines that we were in. It was very crafty as to how we were able to provide care in that space, but we got it done and have been super fortunate to expand into about 2,000 square feet now. Plenty of room, ensuite bathroom, big private spaces where we're able to move around, but also do our pelvic therapy. It's been really cool to kind of grow in this capacity. So with the shutdown that occurred, we launched Pints and Pelvic Floors. It was focused as an educational thing. We did some Zoom webinars, covered a couple different topics like Pelotons and pelvic floors, work from home posture, constipation. There were a few different topics we covered, and all of those videos can be found on YouTube. So we started that way. My long-term goal for Pints and Pelvic Floors was to turn it into a in-person meetup group, having like panel discussions, bringing in different experts on different topics, grab a beer, grab a glass of wine, wherever the location may be, and just kind of sit down and normalize talking about all things pee, poop, sex, yada, yada. So that was the goal. Obviously, COVID kind of puts a damper on the ability to get in big groups like that at the time. So we kept everything virtual. And then as things have kind of changed around, I've decided why not turn Pints and Pelvic Floors into a podcast. So that's where we kind of are now. The question is, why start a podcast? Isn't everyone doing that? Is it the thing to do at this point? I figured it would be a really cool way to create community within Baltimore. My big plan is to bring in other providers in the area, other businesses in the area that help support my patients and shine a light on what they do, who they serve, how they can help, and really just expose all of our listeners to these different professions, these different organizations, and hopefully find a connection there and someone that can help them maybe with something they've been looking for. So that is what we're looking for down the line. So kind of what to expect in future episodes. There will be guest episodes where we're able to bring people on. We're also going to talk about various topics in relation to the pelvic floor. So we'll cover, like in our next episode, we're just going to talk about what is the pelvic floor? Why is it important? And then we'll talk about different diagnoses or different treatments or different things that we do. We're also going to cover things like, what are dilators and pelvic wands? Do I need them? What are different menstrual products? So is it menstrual cup, menstrual disc? Do we use period panties? Are they good? Are they not good? How do they work? Things like that. So we're just going to talk about kind of all the different things I educate my patients on every day. We're just bringing it to the podcast. Some people still want that one-on-one, this is my problem, how can we fix it? That's absolutely what we do in our clinic every single day, is we help troubleshoot what are your specific issues and then how can we help them. But in the event that that's not what we're working on, and you're just kind of here for some information and education, you're in the right place. We're going to talk about plenty of it. As far as the length of the podcast, our goal is to hit about 30 minutes, no more. So it's easy to listen to. You can do it while you're driving. You can do it while you're doing some dishes, whatever works best for your lifestyle. Guest episodes might go a little longer. We'll just kind of see. So we're in it for the long haul. Got a lot of topics kind of outlined. Always interested to hear from you. If there's ever anything that you are curious about, want to know more about, definitely send us a DM, send us an email, whatever works. You can send us any kind of inquiries, info@pelvicpride.com. I will put all of this information in the show notes. I'm going to add those YouTube links for the Pints and Pelvic Floors we've done in the past. And that way you are able to reach out to us in any way and let us know. So yeah, that's kind of it. That kind of covers the big topics of who am I, what's pelvic pride, what is the Pints and Pelvic Floors, how to get started, why turn it into a podcast, and kind of what to expect. So glad you kind of stuck around for this first intro episode. Stay tuned for our very next one. We're going to talk about what is the pelvic floor, so we get a little bit more just kind of background and understanding of what a pelvic floor is, what we can do for it in pelvic floor therapy, and just kind of why our profession exists at all. So hope you enjoyed what you've heard so far, and we will talk to you next time. Hey everyone, just a quick reminder that this podcast is for educational purposes only and does not constitute providing medical advice or professional services. Please reach out to your primary care provider if you need any assistance.